So you want to learn about Alibaba Group, huh? Well, you came to the right place. We're going to do a deep dive today into Alibaba. It's kind of like trying to get a handle on, the entire Amazon rainforest. You just see a leaf, you don't see the whole picture. We're
Yeah,
going to go beyond the headlines and really explore.
that's a great analogy.
And I've got someone here who knows this landscape inside and out.
I've been following Alibaba's journey for quite a while now, fascinated by its growth.
Awesome. So let's start with their origin story. Alibaba was founded in 1999, not in Silicon Valley, not in some, big tech hub, but an apartment in Hangzhou.
Yeah, an apartment with Jack Ma and 17 of his friends. Pretty humble beginnings.
Crazy. And their goal was to help Chinese businesses export globally. I mean, it's almost quaint, right? Considering what Alibaba has become.
It is. It's easy to forget how much the world and China have changed since then. Alibaba really rode that wave of China's economic boom, and they understood that small businesses needed help reaching those international markets.
And that's key, isn't it? Understanding the Chinese market. I was reading about how, eBay, the giant eBay, tried to enter China back in 2003. And they basically saw Alibaba's Taobao as their rival.
Right. And they actually, offered to buy it.
Yeah, that's right. But Jack Ma turned them down flat.
That was a bold move. I mean, everyone at the time must thought he was nuts. What made him think he could take on eBay?
Well, he understood the Chinese market in a way that eBay didn't. It wasn't about replicating what worked in the U.S. It was about adaptation and, crucially, building trust, both with businesses and with those individual consumers. And it worked.
It's such a classic David and Goliath story, except this time, David actually won.
He did.
And then things get even wilder. In 2005, Yahoo, another huge name, invests $1 billion in Alibaba. That's like putting your money where your mouth is. It was. That investment, it wasn't just money. It was a statement about Alibaba's potential. It gave them the fuel to expand into new areas, like digital payments with Alipay, or logistics with Cainiao. It really laid the groundwork for the massive, diverse ecosystem they have today.
It's mind-blowing how much they were already doing back then. And that investment turned into a gold mine for Yahoo when Alibaba went public, 2014.
Oh, yeah. A record-breaking IPO raised $25 billion. Bigger than Facebook, Google, and Twitter's IPOs combined.
It was a huge moment for Alibaba and for the tech world. They were on top of the world. But then, in 2018, Jack Ma drops a bombshell. He's stepping down as chairman.
It did seem strange, leaving at the peak of his success. I mean, what was going on there?
Exactly. Was there something else happening behind the scenes?
Well, there was speculation about the Chinese government, right? Their increasing scrutiny of the tech sector. This was around the time China was starting to, tighten the reins.
Yeah, and that control became crystal clear with the whole Ant Group situation in 2020. Ant Group, Alibaba's financial arm, they were all set for their own massive IPO. And then, bam, the Chinese government halts it.
Like hitting the pause button on what would have been another record-breaking IPO.
Yeah.
And the antitrust investigation into Alibaba that followed, it was like a real-life thriller.
So what was that really about? Was Alibaba getting too big for its britches in the eyes of Beijing?
It definitely highlighted that complicated relationship between Alibaba and the Chinese government.
That tension between Alibaba's success, this global tech giant, and the government's desire for control. And it was all playing out on the world stage. It makes you wonder what was going through the minds of Alibaba's leadership. I mean, how do you even begin to respond to something like that?
Right. I mean, on the one hand, they're this symbol of China's tech prowess, and on the other, they're pushing boundaries, challenging the status quo.
And then they announced the 1+6+N restructuring plan. They're splitting the company into 6 independent units.
Each with its own CEO, potentially able to seek funding, even go public. A bold move, that's for sure.
So are they trying to appease regulators, downplaying their size? Or is this a strategic move for even more growth down the line? It's like a game of chess. One giant move changing the entire board.
It's a really fascinating development. They're adapting to a new reality, that's for sure.
So much happened already. And we've only just scratched the surface of Alibaba's story. Okay, so we've talked about Alibaba's journey. I want to get into the nitty-gritty. What are the key areas we should look at to really grasp the scope of their business?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is e-commerce.
Right, that's what we're known for.
But it's not just one big shop. It's way more nuanced than that. They've got different platforms for different needs. Alibaba.com, that was their original platform. It's business to business, B2B.
So connecting businesses with each other.
Exactly. Like a massive global trade show happening online 24/7, connecting businesses of all sizes. A small startup in Germany can find a supplier in China.
Wow, that's pretty powerful.
It is. And then you've got 1688.com, which is more focused on domestic B2B trade within China.
So Chinese businesses trading with each other. What about consumers, though, like everyday people?
Right, well, that's where Taobao and Tmall come in.
Ah, okay.
Taobao, you can think of it like a giant online marketplace. It's huge in China. Everything and anything you could imagine is on Taobao. People are always finding crazy deals there.
It sounds overwhelming, honestly.
It can be, but that's part of the fun. And then you have Tmall, which is a bit more curated. It's like a high-end shopping mall online. They've got flagship stores for major brands, and they target a more, I guess, discerning consumer.
So they've really cornered the market on all sides.
Pretty much.
With so many individual sellers, especially on Taobao, how do they even maintain quality control? Make sure people aren't getting ripped off?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
On Alibaba.com, for businesses, they have this gold supplier system.
Okay, tell me about that.
So basically, businesses go through verification checks, they pay a fee, and it signals to buyers that they're legit. It's a way to build trust.
And weed out the scammers, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly. But on Taobao, with individual sellers, it's more challenging. They've got algorithms, they have a big team monitoring for fake goods. It's an ongoing battle for sure, especially with pressure from those big Western brands.
Makes sense. Speaking of pressure, what about Alipay? It seems like it's way more than just, like PayPal or something.
Oh yeah, Alipay is huge in China. It's not just payments, it's a whole ecosystem. Think microloans, insurance, even investment products. It's woven into daily life for so many people.
So they're really blurring the lines between commerce and like everyday life.
Yeah, they're pushing those boundaries. And then you can't forget the logistics. They've got to get all those goods delivered, right? Across a massive country like China.
How do they even do that?
That's where Kineo Network comes in. It's their logistics arm, and it's seriously impressive. They didn't go the Amazon route, building their own fleet of trucks.
So what did they do?
They created a collaborative platform. They work with a whole network of logistics companies. They're like the central nervous system, using data and algorithms to optimize everything, delivery routes, inventory. It's crazy.
So they're the brains of the operation, connecting all the moving parts.
Exactly. And it works. I mean, they can offer same-day or next-day delivery in lots of places, even remote areas.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've got the marketplaces, we've got the financial arm, we've got the logistics network. What else is there?
Oh, we're just getting started. They've also got Alibaba Cloud.
The cloud, like cloud computing.
You got it.
Huh.
It's their cloud computing division, and it's massive. Think of it like the engine that powers everything, not just their own operations, but also tons of other companies. They're going head-to-head with Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure.
Wow, so they're not just dominating in China, they're playing on the global stage.
They are. And then there's entertainment. They've got Alibaba Pictures, a film company. They own Youku To Do, a big video streaming platform. They even have a stake in a football club.
They're like a whole media empire.
It's mind-boggling, right? And one more thing, just to add to the mix, their venture capital arm.
Venture capital, what are they doing there?
They're investing in all sorts of startups, fintech, healthcare, AI, you name it. They're not just building their own empire, they're shaping the future of whole industries.
So they're like the puppet master of the tech world.
In a way, yeah. They're looking ahead, trying to anticipate the next big thing.
This is incredibly impressive. But there have to be challenges, right? I mean, no company is perfect. We talked about the government scrutiny, but there must be other hurdles they face.
Oh, there are. We haven't even touched on things like counterfeiting, competition. There's a lot to unpack.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've seen the amazing things Alibaba's doing. But, like you said, there are always challenges.
Right. No company's immune to those. And for Alibaba, one of the big ones that keeps coming up is counterfeiting.
Yeah, we touched on it earlier, especially with those Western brands, always putting on the pressure. How are they tackling that?
Well, it's a tough one. They've got those algorithms trying to sniff out the fakes, and they have a whole team, like investigators, trying to track them down.
It seems like an endless game of whack-a-mole, though.
It kind of is. They're also working directly with brands to help verify authentic products, but it's a constant battle, and it hurts their reputation if they don't stay on top of it.
And then there's the whole China thing, right? The government always looming in the background. I mean, the Ant Group situation was a pretty clear message.
It was a wake-up call for sure. It showed that even a giant like Alibaba has to play by Beijing's rules.
It's like this constant tightrope walk, balancing their ambitions with the government's desire for control.
Hmm.
How do they even operate in that kind of environment?
It's tricky. On one hand, they benefit from government support, policies that help domestic companies. But on the other hand, they're under constant scrutiny.
So they have to be careful not to step on any toes.
Exactly. And that brings us back to that 1+6+N restructuring. Was it a way to appease regulators, make themselves seem less threatening? Or was it a genuine move to become more agile, more innovative?
It's probably a bit of both,
I
right?
think so. By splitting into smaller units, they're less monolithic, but they also gain flexibility. Each unit can focus on its own thing, potentially grow even faster.
It's a fascinating strategy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But they've also got competition, right? Other Chinese companies, not to mention global players.
Oh yeah, the competition's fierce. You've got Tencent, JD.com, they're all vying for market share. And then, of course, there's Amazon, the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
So Alibaba's got to be on its toes, constantly innovating.
No doubt. And that's what makes them so interesting to watch. They're this powerhouse, but they're also facing all these challenges. It makes you wonder, what's next for them?
What do you think? Where do you see Alibaba going in the future?
It's tough to say. The tech world moves so fast. But they've got a history of resilience, of adapting. They've been through a lot, and they've always come out swinging.
I get that's what makes them so successful. They're not afraid to take risks, to push boundaries.
Right, and they're always looking ahead, trying to anticipate the next big thing. I think it's safe to say Alibaba's story is far from over. They're going to continue to play a major role in shaping the global tech landscape.
Well, this has been a truly eye-opening deep dive. We've gone from their humble beginnings to their status as this global giant. It's been a wild ride.
It has, and I think the key takeaway is this. Alibaba is more than just an e-commerce company. They're a force to be reckoned with, a symbol of China's rise on the world stage. And they're not slowing down anytime soon.
It's been a pleasure having you here to break it all down for us. It's been a fascinating journey exploring the world of Alibaba.
The pleasure was all mine. It's a company that never ceases to amaze.
And for you listening, we hope you've gained a deeper understanding of this complex, fascinating company. Keep an eye on Alibaba because their story is only just beginning.